This will be the highest rated match that was up on in Team 45 League. Very, very exciting game. I already played through it, and I think at one time Black was up 2 pawns and couldn't convert. Does that mean he was winning? I don't know. I don't remember. I looked at this some 10 days ago or something. Shortly after it was played. Okay, so this is an unusual exchange. Now there's kind of tricky line. This is a tricky line. For instance, if takes, and that's a natural move that a lot of black players would do. This falls right into white's plan. Now, when takes,
check.
Black has difficulty stopping this check. So the trick is, as I recall, you answer bishop d2 with knight e7. Let's see, wait a minute, I think I'm doing something wrong here. Let me figure this out. Let's see. I know. Okay, takes knight here. Oh yeah, okay. You don't have time for knight e7 here. So let me think. Oh yeah. Now if knight here, you have time to run away. Okay, that's it. Okay, and this could get traded. Let's see. Wait. No, you take here with check. Okay, that's right.
Check.
I'm just not thinking. Now you can run away. So you never take. You save the tempo. You don't take this pawn. And if he takes it, Black will most likely get this back. As I recall the analysis from some 40-some years ago. So this stops all that nonsense. And this is a reply that could be made, but g6 I think is what got played. No, he did play king f8. Okay, well, see, my memory is fuzzy. Sometimes it's spot on, particularly when it's over 40 years ago. Okay. A little risky because open lines are going to form, and Black will get some counterplay. One of the ideas of bishop a6 is Black is trying to shed himself of the French bishop. So just take and castle, and Black has to spend time getting this knight back into the game. Where's it going? Here, then where? Yuck. But this bishop isn't really all that awesome. So here comes the attack, and then Black plays stubborn. Now Black got rid of his French bishop. His king is safe. And, maybe Black has some attacking chances and might be able to even undermine this pawn. Okay, now we got to make sure there's no tactic here, or in some cases. But, Black's getting a nice square for his knight. So, I like Black's game a lot here. He's really owning the light squares, and White's bishop is just not a good piece here. And so far, Black hasn't started his attack. White seems to have ground to a halt. How do you get rid of those knights? The answer is you don't. Okay, you can move your knight around and get rid of one of them. plans to consider. We've got to get a knight. We got to get the knight here or here, and that's not all that easy. There's things in the way. Okay, knight h3. It could go to f2, but that's occupied. They could get to h1. They could get to g3, or from f2 we could move the rook, which is occupying that square, then to e3. If you let's get rid of these. If you try the knight f3 approach, let's see. You've got to go back to h2, then you got to get to f1, then you can take your pick. So it's now white's kind of stuck here, and he decides to steal a pawn. And here white wants 2 pieces for the rook. He wants to play rook takes knight. Now see, could he take the other knight? What if you take the other knight? Oh, we have a problem down here. Right? Looks like it. But we have to look at these things. Okay, so black's got his open file. This knight is loose, but it's going to go back to f5, I'm sure. Yep. Now there is a potential target here, but I think that let's see. What if white plays g4? No, he can't yet. The rook's hanging. Okay, so now is this a threat? Relying on the pin. What can black do to prevent that? Well, one thematic idea is to play h4, but I don't think it works here. Mainly because unless black can generate something in a hurry, white may very well be, well, I don't know. Is he winning that pawn? 3 attackers, 3 defenders. We have to do a lot of maneuvering. These are things that have to be thought about. They have plenty of time on their clock. They can figure it out. But this is not an easy position. So black doesn't necessarily have to play h4 either. Okay, but the question is g4 a threat? Okay, to find out if g4 is a threat, let's just burn a move, and there's g4. Now you can't take because you're dropping your rook, right? I mean, you all saw that, right? So now then you need to move the knight. Where are you going to put it? You come back here. White might just very well steal this pawn. Okay, well, you're on this one, I guess, but we could take here too. And now white's saying, well, actually, white's just getting his pawn back. Paying careful enough attention. So remember, black won a pawn earlier. Okay, let's see what he does. He comes up here. He says, well, if you want to play g4, my rook's going to be defended. So he piles up on it, and now he pushes it. So here we have something similar to what I was talking about earlier. But white can play knight f3, and he's got 4 attackers there. So the question is, can black generate anything? Let's see if he plays knight f3. No, he doesn't. So we have to ask, why didn't he do this? I mean, it doesn't mean black doesn't have a good move, but white rejected this. Now, one reason he might have rejected it is because of queen c7. See, now, well, I don't know. White takes. Obviously we don't want to take with the queen because then we get bankrate mated, right?
Check.
Right? Okay, but we're not going to be that silly. We're going to take this way. Now, game seems about even. White. This is not necessarily a threat. The king has heir. So for whatever reason, white decided to put his rook here. So why is he putting his rook there? Let's ask ourselves that question. That's always a good question to ask when your opponent, particularly a strong player, and he's got the national master flag. It's a very good question to ask. What does this do? Well, if you're trying to keep the knight out of d4, the queen already did that. You know, and again, I could be missing something with this move. You know, maybe this move's a nuisance. Yeah, this move does look like a nuisance. Then this knight is getting into this square, and that's a really good square for that knight. White may have something with f5 though. Let's see if that's true. Let's just go to the d file since he liked it himself. Now we hit the queen, and let's just keep an eye on this pawn. Although that unprotects c2. Let's see. Now we got to be careful that we never run into a disaster here. The b2 pawn is covering it, but we know we want to keep that in the back of our head. Now let's see what comes. You know, white wants to try to get f5 in. I don't know. It's tricky. There's a lot to this game. So for the moment, white's willing to stay down a pawn, and maybe he didn't want to lock. He didn't want to take this pawn, and he didn't want the rook shut in on h3. That could be his logic. But black just activates his rook, keeps the pressure here, chases the rook out. Now he doubled on the d file. So maybe he's going to try to sack down here at some point and undermine this knight. His queen will have to be attacking the knight first. Like I said, we're trying to figure out what he's doing. Okay. So here was his plan. He wants to crash through on the d file. That's why he doubled the rooks. Okay, and so b3 actually helped him accomplish this. And for what it's worth, black is starting to run low on time. He should have more than enough. He can still, he's above the average he needs. White's going too fast. Okay, maybe white could have had a better game if he hadn't. I don't know, because I'm not spending the time they did on it. Okay, now we're after this guy. Black is willing to give back a pawn just to confuse the issue. So white's going to have to do some trading on that file if he wants his pawn back, and he does. Okay, so what's white? So both sides have accomplished, well, white's accomplished what he wants, I guess is a better way to put it. He's got his pawn back. The pawn on h4 is a potential target. The white pawns on g2 and f4 don't look so safe. The white king is potentially very exposed. White's about ready to double on the d file. Black's rook is a little bit out of play. Black should probably put it on g6. He puts the pawn on g6. Okay, so here's ideas. If you want to double on the file, fine. Maybe I'm going to get my king out of there, but you know that rook can come to the 7th. So why does he play here? Oh, he's trying to check down here. Why not come here? Okay, I mean this is, you know, if you had to vote on a move right now, you know, we would have to consider doubling. Okay, so what happens now? Let's burn a move. Let's play this. So check. Here the idea is we want to try to infest the back rank. Okay, so let's see. Let's try this. He takes, and we've infested the back rank. Well, queen takes, rook takes, rook here. Now, we could go this and it becomes a race. You know, both both sides are going to might have 3 connected passed pawns. My guess is it's probably even. So, there's a reason why he didn't double. See, the point is there's no win here right now for either side. There could be. Black ends up winning a couple of pawns here and white held. Don't know exactly how it happened yet. So I just kind of going back and forth.
Check.
Now the exposed king is in danger. He runs here to try to avoid perpetual checks. If this rook could get active, this king, either king could be in trouble here in a hurry. Let's see. So here, pressure, bang, we're on this. So I'm almost thinking black's winning this simply because white's pawn structure is in trouble, and he's clearly going to lose a pawn. So my guess is that in theory black is winning this. He has a pass pawn. He has an extra pawn. The black king could come under fire if white can't. The black king could come under fire if white can't find a way to generate some activity against it. Now, how's he going to do that? Well, the queen needs to come up here or here, and this rook needs to get down here. That's, while white's doing that, black's getting moves too. This rook can come down here, menacing a check here. So there's a lot to this. And he does exactly what I thought he was going to do. And then here, white's threatening a checkmate. So, white's found some activity. They're both sides are short on time. They've made the magic move 40. Like I've said before, half your games are going to be over at move 40. The other half are going to be over before. This one's hit move 40, and they do get a 45-second increment every turn. If it goes to another, let's kind of play around a little bit and do a math in case we get ourselves in this situation. If the game goes to move 60 and it's still undecided, then we've got about 20 more moves is 900 more seconds or 15 more minutes. So black has about 22 minutes for 20 moves, and white has about 24 minutes for 20 moves. A little over a minute a move.
Check.
Here come the checks. And now defense. He's stopping the mate. So now, fortunately for black, this I can't even say it. This queen couldn't get to a square where she could try to check on f6.
Check.
But now white's losing his second pawn. So if black can figure out a way to get the queens off, black should win this. But you have to be careful. But even then, it's not that clear. That white king is very active, and he may be collecting. You collect these 2 pawns, and all bets are off in a rook and pawn ending. Okay, so his target is here. I guess he figured if he checks him, this king is just going to go hide out of the way. So he's piling up on e5. If he can win e5, it's, unless white can find something, it's practically game over. So black appears to be winning. Now, what the win is, I'm sure by now black has figured it out. If he was winning, we know the game ends in a draw, so we have to give credit to white for for finding the resources it needed. And maybe it took one slip by black. We'll try to identify it. Okay, he defends the pawn. But, you know, look at that poor king. He's just out there. But he's fortunate that black can't get at it. And he might even be able to hide on this square. I don't know. You know, logically, I want to do this and this. Let's see what black does.
Check.
He checks. Well, I would have kept the queen there. That doesn't mean that this is a bad move. I'm just saying, what would I do? I mean, my logic is I want to come over here and check you again. And then figure out if I could get my queen after your king somehow. You know, come here to the center and be ready to drop back. So...
check.
Now the king is actually a very, very strong piece, now. So, and time is still a factor.
Check.
And now he gets the queens off. So, in theory, we should say that black is winning this. Why didn't he? Okay, first step, he didn't want to lose this pawn. Now, here he's going after pawns. Probably okay. But maybe what we need to do is just park the rook here and start running this. Let's see. You know, what's white got to do? What's white's plan here? Clearly he has to go after these pawns. So let's just play a little bit here. See what happens. Whoops, mouse slip. I'm going to leave the rook here. I'm going to go after that pawn with the king. Now you can't take this because after this, we see this. And white's not going any further here. So you can't take the pawn just yet. You know, I don't know if this is all forced. We're just analyzing. Now he got back in time, and black needs to play this. So here, I think that white has enough compensation here, even though material is even. White might suddenly be better here. Just to give you an example, for the fun of it, let's take this.
Check.
Now, you know, white's pawns are more advanced than black's pawns, so we could almost say black's better here. I mean, white's better here. Let's go back to where we're at. Okay, so he played here attacking a pawn, so that makes sense. And he saves it.
Check.
Now maybe white has a threat of here and here. So this makes sense too. Let's get that pawn rolling. And here he gave it up. Why not do this? Okay, now the point is that although, you know, again, it's not all that clear, you know, we can maybe do this. Now we take, he takes. You know, there may be a new queen born on this square. We may have to lose the pawn on f7. So white's king is so active, that's helping him save the game. You know, good job on this king. You know, he just ran up the board.
Check.
Now, white has a new pass pawn. Black has a dangerous pass pawn, but his rook's not behind it. Now white's up a pawn. And, you know, it's not all that clear now.
Check. Check.
It's a tricky move. If the king backs up, we drop the rook. However, we can just take the rook. And I'm thinking this pawn is protecting it. Pawns don't go backwards. Okay, never mind. Let's see. So, was that?
Check.
Was giving up the rook necessary? Let's see. Because after he takes this rook, he black is checking.
Check.
And here, the queens have to come off. The only way, see, if the king comes here or here, white's going to lose. So the king has to come here if he's going to go that direction. Then black can trade queens and win this last pawn. If the white king comes this way, then
check.
Suddenly white can cry a lot. Okay, so let's see. Let's back it up. So was this check necessary? This led to a draw. Can white win this somehow? Let's advance this pawn and threaten to make a queen. Now, you can take this to check. Now you see, this is tricky. Both sides are queening, but white's queening first. This could be a disaster for black since there's so much power on the board, and it's just white's turn. Now this seems to drop the rook, and actually it drops the queen. No, it doesn't drop the queen. We can go to this lineup and not lose, but in a position like this, I do believe white's going to run out of checks. And you see the queen guards the rook, so there's no way to pick off that loose rook. So, but how did I get to that? Let's see. I had white winning that. So what was the move? It was here. I think I was taking the pawn with check. Let's not take the pawn. That's a dangerous pawn to take. But you have to play here. And this comes up here. And this goes here, and we come over there. And let's see. Save the pawn. Now let's see. Make a queen. White's winning. So this check may not have been necessary.
Check.
He spent 3 minutes on it. Maybe after such tough game, I was happy. He says, "I see a draw. I'm going to take it. I'm tired of this game." Let's see. Spend a little more time on this. I think on this move, let's see. This just runs into this, and white's queening first. See, this is the danger here. This king is still in a lot of grave danger.
Check.
Now this almost wins, but not quite. We can't check here or here. But we can check here.
Check.
So I don't know. Maybe this is a draw. But if you're white, you can't be. Oops, there goes the rook. We just dropped it. If you're white, you can't be losing if you're checking. If you're queening first. I mean, well, I'm sure you can find a position where you would be queening and losing, or queening first and losing, but like I said, I could be wrong. I think that white is the one with all the winning chances. Now maybe king here. Now take this and make a queen. You need to take it. Now here I can see this being even. See, now the threat is to move the pawn, and this king is too far back. So maybe black still has the draw. So I was playing c7. It may only be a draw. Okay. That was a really exciting game, I thought. Well played on both sides. Right when it looked like black was ready to seal the deal, white came up with some great moves. Getting his king down. His king got in trouble, and he ran it down to e7, where it became a really, really, really strong piece. So anyway, we'll call this one a wrap. Thanks, guys, for playing. Both excellent players.